YouTube was going to hope you're having a great day. Thank you for stopping by, and welcome back to Courtside Perspective. After a 3-year hiatus, the last time there's been a video uploaded on this channel was when we were talking about what we thought was the craziest trade deadline of all time, the February 2022 NBA trade deadline. But what's happened in the last week, the 2025 trade deadline might have topped it. Now, first off, I want to start by saying, it's good to be back. I'm not sure for how long we'll be back, but right now we are here. But, let's just give our thoughts about what's going on in the league. For starters, the big one. I mean, we all know it. Lakers land Luka-Doncic in a 3-teamer for Anthony Davis, and the Utah Jazz got involved as well. So, Saturday night, I went to bed at about 11:15 Eastern Standard Time, and trade dropped at about 12:15 Eastern, and I fell asleep. I randomly woke up at 12:20, reached over, grabbed my phone to see what time it was, and I see a text from my friend, and it goes, "Yo, have you seen that trade?" I'm like, I'm still half asleep, in a daze, whatever, and I'm like, scrolling through, and I see the Shams tweet, and I'm like, Luka-Doncic trade, what? It, my eyes shot open, I audibly was like, no way. It gives me flashbacks to the 2019 offseason as a Clippers fan, obviously, Clippers fan, where, the night that PG was traded to the Clippers and Kawhi signed, gives me flashbacks to not like that, where I'm sitting in my bed, shaken by this kind of move. A move that rattled the NBA. So, obviously as a Clippers fan, I probably feel some type of way about it going to the Lakers, whatever. But I was sitting in my bed, nauseated at the fact that the Mavs would make this kind of move. I, like most people, thought that Shams was hacked. And then, he tweeted out saying, this is real. This actually happened. And it was no way, dude. There's no way they did this. So it's just well, why? All because they claim, what is it? Wait, 270 pounds, claiming he's fat. They're not happy with his conditioning. This is crazy. Anthony Davis, this is not disrespect to Anthony Davis. Great player. Top 10, top 15, probably top 10 player in the NBA. Phenomenal player, two-way talent. NBA 75 list player. I mean, he's phenomenal. But for making this trade for a 25-year-old superstar, perennial All-NBA first-team player, obviously this season won't happen because of injury, a guy that's going to win an MVP in his career, a guy that brought them to the finals just this past June. It's only February. It's been 8 months, and they were in the finals. And you traded him away for a 32, I think it is, 31, 32, gotta be 32-year-old Anthony Davis, and you only got one first-round pick out of it, the 2029 first. Yes, thankfully you at least got something out of it, but this would have been the biggest bidding war in the history of the NBA. But Mavs GM went directly to Rob Pelinka and wanted to drop this trade himself. He didn't let other teams know Luka was available. He went straight to Pelinka and was like, I want Anthony Davis. Let's make it happen. And, look, I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but there's something fishy going on here. Because, like I said, this would have been the biggest bidding war in the history of basketball. Had other teams been informed about this. You could have gotten whatever you wanted. A big one that comes to my mind. Think about what the Thunder, out of all teams, could have offered had this been opened up. Where do you even start? J-Dub in 10 first-round picks? Mikal Bridges just went for 5 over the summer? Rudy Gobert went for multiple a couple seasons ago? The Paul George trade in 2019 was 5 picks and multiple swaps. There's no way for a 25-year-old MVP candidate that's a generational talent gets you one first-round pick in the year 2025. Something sketchy going on there. Absolutely mind-blowing. I just, I can't believe it. And for the Lakers, honestly, for Rob Pelinka, you get your flowers, man. And like Lakers fans, I don't know what else to say. I mean, congratulations, genuinely. Like, you got your heir to LeBron's throne. And you can't honestly be any happier. For Luka, I mean, he's no longer eligible to sign the Supermax, and that's something to make note of. Go from a state with no income tax to California where it's pretty high. And obviously, you know, you can only go from a 5-year extension to a 3-year extension. It's definitely something that to think about from a financial standpoint for him. But, I mean, like I said, you got the heir to LeBron's throne. And, look, the way I see this trade for right now, if you're the Mavs and you win a championship this season or next season, you still look like idiots, but you look like, you know, you do look like a genius at the same time. Like, at least you won something. But if you don't win anything, and look, I'm going to be honest with you, I, like most people, am not too convinced the Mavs are winning a title without Luka Doncic. It's going to be rough. But if you're the Mavs, you got to go win something. Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, friends. But the thing is, you have Kyrie Irving. If I'm not mistaken, he can walk this summer. All these guys, Klay Thompson, came to play with Luka, and now you just traded him away. In the most shocking move and the biggest trade in the history of the sport. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. I had friends hit me up that don't really watch basketball, but saw me retweeting and replying to stuff that night on Saturday night, Sunday morning. And they were like, yo, so what happened in basketball last night? And I'm like, the biggest trade in the history of the sport happened last night. In a trade with zero rumors, zero leaks, just dropped. Just Shams dropped the news on the timeline and just stunned everybody. We all thought he was hacked. And then, you know, Chris Haynes came in to confirm it. Other people came in to confirm it. I was like, no way this is happening. So like I said, from the Mavs side, I mean, I think this is insane. I mean, you walk out of there with Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and 1 first. I don't know how you don't get multiple. I don't know how you don't get Dalton Connect, Austin Reeves, somebody. Like, this is crazy. You know, like the Jazz, just quickly on them, take a flyer on Jalen Hood-Schifino, get 2 second-rounders. I mean, look, if you're Danny Ainge, cool. Facilitated the trade. You get to take a flyer, get a couple picks, whatever. Screw it. And for the Lakers, look, I'm not moved here. For the current season, let me clarify that. For the current season, I'm not moved. I'm not, just like most people. They are not, I might be wrong, you never know. But I would be willing to bet on the fact that they are most definitely not winning a championship this year or next year. What I think happened is LeBron told them, look, I only got 1 more year after this, maybe 2 left in the tank. And the Lakers went upon themselves and were like, yo, we have this offer here. Let's go get the heir to LeBron's throne and think about the future of this franchise. So what I'm seeing here is they got the heir to their throne. You got cap space in a couple off seasons. I think it's 2026, 2027, whatever year it is. Go build this team around Luka in the next couple seasons. This is going to be a scary future, scary good for the Los Angeles Lakers, and they should be really happy with what they've done. With that said, to another move, shout out to the fact that they got Mark Williams in here. I'm not sure where I have that trade. I have the whole list of trades that went down. Yeah, Dalton Connect. The other pick, the unprotected swap in 2031, or the unprotected first round in 2031, the swap in 2030, and Cam Reddish ends up there as well. Mark Williams, good player. I mean, he's averaging 16, 9.5, 2.5, 1 block in 25 minutes or 22 games this season. If he can stay on the floor, this is going to be great. I mean, he's just going to act as a big body for them. Going to get a good extension from the Lakers this offseason. I like Mark Williams. He's on my fantasy team. Big fan of him as a player. Sucks that you had to give up Dalton Connect there. Dalton Connect been one of the most promising rookies this year. But look, you needed somebody to play the 5. You weren't going to run out Christian Wood on a nightly basis. You weren't going to let Vanderbilt play the 5. Like, you had to do something. Something had to give. You weren't going to play 40-year-old LeBron at center. You had to do something. And honestly, Mark Williams fits the timeline with Luka. No complaints whatsoever there. So, final thoughts. I mean, look, if you're the Lakers, you made out like bandits. Rob Pelinka gets his flowers. The Mavericks, you have a lot of questions to answer going forward. And this is a head-scratcher. We got a couple more blockbusters to go over. Big ones as well. We're going to go with, quickly, where is it? We're going to move to the De'Aaron-Fox trade. De'Aaron. I know I have it on here somewhere. De'Aaron-Fox. There it is. Okay, the three-teamer. De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio, Jordan McLaughlin to San Antonio. Kings get Zachlavine, City Sadoko, 3 picks, 3 firsts, and 3 seconds, but we'll talk about those picks in a second. And the Bulls get Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, and their own first-round pick back. Quickly, the Chicago Bulls, tragic. Zach LaVine is an all-star caliber player this season. He got his value back up. It looked like they were going to, in the last couple seasons, they were going to have to attach draft capital to get his contract off the books. And you go from that to him working his value back to now actually be able to get something for him. But you get basically Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, and Trey Jones. You get salary filler. You get your own pick back this year, which is cool. It was already top 10 protected, if I remember correctly. And, you know, you're hoping that that's kind of where they are right now. On the bright side, for them, they control their own future now. That if it didn't convey this year, it was going to be unprotected next year. Now you have it no matter what this year and next year. You can continue to tank as you wish. But at the same time, how do the Bulls walk out here with no picks? Don't even walk out here with nothing. That's a tough look. It's definitely something to keep track of. And you lost 2 seconds in this deal as well. You lost the 2025 second and the Bulls 2028 second, although I've actually scratched that. I'm pretty sure the 2025 second from the Bulls was actually from the Kings, from the DeMar DeRozan trade, but that's, I think, don't quote me on that. The Kings, you get Zach LaVine. I mean, you already saw how him and DeMar DeRozan work together. I'm sure they had fun playing together, but we know there's a ceiling on this team. It raises the floor and it raises the ceiling, but we know they're not exactly winning a championship with this roster. But they will be fun to watch. Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, and DeMontis Moses. Be a fun team to watch. They're not defending a goddamn thing, but their offense will probably be electric. I mean, yeah, it helps them stay afloat, and for a team that missed, 17 straight playoff appearances and finally got into one, I understand why they don't just want to sell it down again and start over, because that kind of sucks, and it's hard to convince your fan base you should do that. So now let's talk about the picks. 2025 first rounder via Charlotte, 2027 first rounder via San Antonio, and 2031 first rounder via Minnesota. So the 2025 pick via the Hornets, literally irrelevant. The Hornets are absolutely terrible, but the problem is with this pick, it's one of those picks that literally just looks good on paper, but anybody that actually does a quick Google search will know that this doesn't mean a goddamn thing. This 2025 pick goes in a 2 second rounders, doesn't convey this year, and let's be real, it is not conveying, so that pick is a wash. The 2027 first round pick via the Spurs, they'll still have De'Aaron, they'll still have Wemby. Can't expect this pick to be anything greater than late teens, early 20s at its best. The real one here, the good one, the 2031 first rounder via the Timberwolves, we'll see how that one goes. Ant could still be there, but that is the pick. That is the actual prized piece of the De'Aaron Fox return. And quickly, De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio, the actual piece of the trade. Shout out to Spurs, man. They got a guy to go to battle alongside Wemby. De'Aaron Fox is a great player, top 20 player in the league. Gotta respect that. I mean, look, this is the perfect archetype to put around Victor Wembanyama. Is he the greatest three-point shooter in the world? No. But he's shown flashes in his career that he can be, and he does everything else that you need him to be. He's a great passer, gets downhill, can defend a little bit. It's what you need him to do. And look, at the end of the day, even though his shooting this season, the past season, hasn't been fantastic, you have a guy that's 7'4" demigod that can shoot logo threes on command right alongside him. You're not too concerned about it. If you're San Antonio, you absolutely fleeced the Kings and the Bulls here to get the best player in this trade for giving up absolutely nothing. You didn't give away the Hawks pick this year or any of the other Hawks picks. The Hawks are awful. You didn't get a single Hawks pick out of this. You didn't give away multiple of your own picks, and you kept all your young players. You kept Sohan, you kept Castle. This is insane fleecing of the San Antonio front office, and I'd like to give a round of applause for them. I mean, great move. I'm going to love to see how this is going to look going forward. Last night, they started Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox in De'Aaron Fox's debut. Really looking for how this is going to go going forward. It is going to be questionable for Stephon Castle's development as he wanted to be a point guard for this team. But look, at the end of the day, you did what you got to do. Love this move from San Antonio. 2 more blockbusters to go through. Then we'll very briefly talk about some of the small moves on the margins. What else we got here? We have where is it? I'm missing it. I know we have the Jimmy Butler trade. We have the Brandon Ingram trade. I want to talk about the Brandon Ingram trade quickly first. Oh, here it is. Brandon Ingram to Toronto in a 3-player deal. I mean, look, Brandon Ingram to Toronto last year on his deal, ankle injury, not going to really affect their tank. honestly, I mean, look, the issue here is that this team's going to get expensive. Assuming you resign this offseason, you have Emmanuel Quigley locked up, you have RJ Barrett locked up, you have Brandon Ingram locked up, and you're going to, and I don't actually remember Scotty Barnes signed the contract extension yet. If not, he's obviously going to. This probably means, in my opinion, RJ Barrett's going to be the odd man out going forward, but he's been very good this season, so that kind of sucks for him. But this team's going to get expensive, and it's going to be very hard to make moves around the margins, and this team is not exactly, you know, they don't move most people. Quickly, RJ, Brandon Ingram, and Scotty Barnes, and whoever they play at the 5, Jakob Poeltl this season, whoever going forward. I don't think they're really moving anybody. Whoever lottery pick you get this year, I don't think you're really moved. But, I mean, look, they bought low on Brandon Ingram. They got him for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first and a second. You got him for salary fill. And if I remember correctly, that first round pick is one of the ones you got from the Pascal Siakam trade. So, I mean, look, you basically got him at his lowest value. It's a low risk, high reward type move, so why not? Screw it. Brandon Ingram, we were wondering where he was going to go this offseason. There was this trade deadline, or if they were going to move him at all. There was a lot of rumors where he could end up. Toronto's an interesting fit, and I'm actually looking forward to see how this plays out for them. And, shout out Masai, man. Shout out the Raptors. Curious to see how that works out going forward. So, this brings us to the final blockbuster, the Jimmy Butler trade. Assuming I can even find it here. Here we go. This trade had a lot of moving parts. I don't even know if it's done yet. I think it is now. Oh yeah, it has to be. The trade deadline already happened, but it was obviously hours ago. But I mean, yeah, this was crazy. So, Jimmy Butler is going to the Golden State Warriors. And on top of not only is he going, they got him to sign a 2-year, $121 million extension that's going to keep him with the Warriors through the end of the 2027 season. Shout out Jimmy Butler, man. He showed us over the last couple months, or the last couple weeks, I think it was only a month or two, that maybe doing what you want works out. I mean, he basically quit, and he requested out, and he fought with the front office, and got pretty much exactly what he wanted. He got to go to one of the teams he wanted, maybe not the goal, which was Phoenix, but he got to go to one of the original shortlist teams. And most importantly for him, he got his $121 million extension. I mean, look, if you're the Warriors, I don't hate it. I mean, look, it's definitely doesn't move the needle for me as far as I'm concerned. Because look, I don't think we're all looking at this team thinking the Warriors are going on a push to win the title in the 2025 playoffs. But look, I think they got desperate and they made a move. For the way I see it is, you made a move to maybe make Steph happy. You showed him that you're willing to, make an effort, get him a second option that's not Draymond Green. And, you just did something. If you're cool with making a move and keeping Steph content with where you're at, then that's what really matters. You gave up Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, Dennis Schroeder, a protected first, Lindy Waters on the way out too. I mean, look, I think if you're the Warriors, you can argue you gave up a little bit too much there, because Andrew Wiggins and Jimmy Butler have similar archetypes. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is better. But Andrew Wiggins is a fine NBA player. You lose some depth with Kyle Anderson there. Lindy Waters did his thing, and you literally just got Dennis Schroeder like a couple weeks ago, if not a month ago. It honestly might be longer. I don't even know. I think it was early December, so maybe 2 months ago. And you give him a protected first. I mean, look, you got desperate. You made a move. I mean, look, I think the locker room is going to be really interesting. But they might be must-watch TV, and I got to respect that. For the Heat, I think you're pretty cool with this. I mean, you walked out here with a pick, and you walked out. Andrew Wiggins is going to be a fine player on, the Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, timeline here. I mean, look, great defender, 3-and-D guy. You're going to need, you kind of need defenders on that roster if you're building around Tyler Hero right now and trying to help him continue to take that jump in a superstar after his, congratulations on his first All-Star appearance. It's definitely something to keep track of. Shout out Miami. I think you actually did pretty well here, given the fact that Jimmy Butler really tanked basically all of his trade value. Other teams got involved. Detroit, Utah, shout out to them. Yeah, shout out to you guys. A couple minor trades I want to talk to on the margins. Yusuf Nurkic getting kicked out of Phoenix. I mean, I know Suns fans are pretty happy about this one. You had to get up one of your picks to get off the money, and that's pretty tragic. But, I mean, the Suns It's definitely interesting. I'm curious to see where their future lies, especially considering there was rumors that Kevin Durant might have been on the move this trade deadline. Obviously, he didn't go anywhere. But I am curious to see how much longer this Suns experiment lasts. I know the Suns ownership group doesn't really seem too keen on giving up on it yet, but it's definitely something to keep note of, especially as we head into this offseason with them kind of sitting around 500, and it doesn't exactly look like they're competing to win a real championship this season, and Kevin Durant's not getting any younger. Another trade I want to talk about, the Cavs getting DeAndre Hunter. Love this. Absolutely love this. It costs you 2 swaps, 3 seconds, Georges Niang and Karis LeVert. I mean, look. Cavs 41-10, best team in the Eastern Conference, 5-game win on Boston. You get DeAndre Hunter's 19 points per game, and you got him, for basically nothing. I mean, this is great. Perfect fit for them. Start at the 3, coming off the bench. What they want to do with him, absolutely love this. Nothing else to really say around that other than the fact that Atlanta, a lot of question marks going on there. I don't know what the heck their game plan is going to be, especially given the fact that they own no draft capital and they're going to continue to suck. Where's Trey going? I don't know, but they don't have any draft picks. Definitely something to keep track of. I mean, look, I'll talk about, as a Clippers fan, quickly, Kevin Porter Jr., gone. Terrence Mann and Bones Highland gone. Terrence Mann, I really appreciate you for that, for everything you did. Game 6 against the Utah Jazz 2021 playoffs. I mean, look, Clipper legend. But it was about time that we went our separate ways. And at the end of the day, for the Clippers, going back to Atlanta, you got 3 second-rounders in Bogdanovich. Bogdan doesn't really move the needle for me, but the fact that you got 3 seconds out of this is huge, and it really, yet again, raises question marks for me about where the heck we are going if we are the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, look, this is getting real interesting for me. This has been a wild trade deadline. I mean, look, there's a bunch of other moves that happened. I don't really know if there's anything else worth talking about. If anything, Marcus Smart deal to the Wizards. The Wizards, I kind of like what they did this trade deadline. A lot of moving parts here. And, they did a lot of stuff. Got some draft capital, got off some players. Marvin Bagley gone, James Wiseman gone. I mean, look, I don't hate 2025 first via Memphis to get for Marcus Smart. I mean, look, I like it. And the last one I do want to talk about is, I can't believe I forgot it now that we're talking about the Washington Wizards, is the Kyle Kuzma, Chris Middleton swap. I'm sad to see that the Chris Middleton era in Milwaukee is over. I understand why they did it. No disrespect to Chris Middleton, but we all know he's kind of cooked. I mean, look. He gave them some great years. Won him a championship. I mean, there's no telling. Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin, Jericho Simpson, a 2025 second to Milwaukee for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, a 2028 first to Washington, with the Knicks getting involved as well for DeLon Wright and cash. I mean, look. I understand why the Bucks did this. Kyle Kuzma, even though he hasn't had the greatest season right now, he's probably an upgrade over Chris Middleton at this exact moment, and especially going forward, because obviously he is a couple years younger. If you can get Kyle Kuzma back to even the way he was a couple seasons ago, you take that and you run with it. Yet again, but something we already knew, this does not exactly help their defensive situation, because Kyle Kuzma is not exactly known to be the greatest defender in the world. But look, I'm curious to see how Milwaukee plays going in the playoffs. Could be interesting. Doc Rivers at the helm. As a Clippers fan, how I'm sure you all can imagine how I feel about Doc Rivers as a coach. But they're going to be one to watch. I'm actually really interested to see how Dame, Kyle Kuzma, and Giannis Antetokounmpo work going into this playoffs, especially with other teams in the East that are better. I mean, Cleveland, Boston for sure. New York, yeah. I mean, look, this is going to be interesting. Really interested to see how this is going to go. And look, I like this move for Milwaukee, but it's another one of those similar moves to Golden State. It seems like you got desperate and you just had to do something. I understand why you did it, but it seems like desperation. But shout out to both teams in that deal, and shout out to every other team that made trades this week. We have 4 months to the NBA Finals. A couple months until the playoffs. I'm ready. This is going to be a fun next couple months of hoops as we move closer to the All-Star break into the second half. I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to hear what you got to say about any of these trades, especially the Luka Doncic trade, in the comment section below. It was nice to be back and get on the mic again. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. This was a long one. We got over 20 minutes here to going through the entire 2025 trade deadline. Not even all of it, but the moves that I consider to be the bigger ones. Hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my Twitter in the top link of the description. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace.